Hello and welcome to the Cube Vanguard. I am back in a new format, better than ever. Well, perhaps not, because I'm playing with technology. I've got a different webcam, one which I think I purchased like 10 years ago, so it's not performing very well, and my lighting has deteriorated significantly. However, where there's a will, there's a way, and I intend to get better, and this is going to be a fun experience building a new video environment. Okay, so more importantly, this week, what I want to announce after a number of weeks of being absent, I had a whole bunch of stuff to do, is that I am starting a new series. And this series is going to be called the Kasten Documentation Program. Now, why is that? Well, I know that no one likes to read documentation. It's boring, right? Right. Wrong, because I'm going to make it not boring. What I intend to do is go through every week, maybe more often than once a week, depending on my mood and my energy levels, the Kasten K10 documentation. And what I'll try to do is explain some interesting things and also explain the concepts behind it, i.e., what is a PVC, persistent volume claim, what is a persistent volume, things like that. Anything that relate to backup and Kasten. So today will be the first little episode, and as I said, I'm using new software, old hardware, but that'll be improved gradually over time, so I should get better and better. So let me slowly but surely change my screen, and I'm doing this in new software, and oh, look at that. Let's say, oh, there we go. Okay, I'm going to be, I should actually do a series on videos too, how not to do them. So you make all the mistakes first, and then things get better. Okay, so now watch this. Ta-da! Okay, I'm getting better at this already. Okay, so first episode today, and we're talking about the Kasten K10 documentation. So most of you being IT people have read documentation, and you have to read it once in a while. What tends to happen, though, is people read documentation after the fact. And what do I mean by that? I mean that they read the documentation in an emergency, or when they've got a new job that's been given to them and they've got to fix something or do something. It's better to preemptively read the documentation. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. One is, okay, just go through the interesting parts, read them, and forget them. Or there's I would say the better approach, which is to look at this as a fun project, okay? Go through every single page. Oh, what are you talking about, every single page? Yes. The thing is, you'll find stuff in there, and you know what? It's not that bad. If you cut it down to like 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, in no time you'll have read every single page of the documentation. Now, it's one thing just to read, but you should also take some notes, because that will help your memory, okay? Just my advice, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to help you because we're going to do it together. So, here we are in the K10 documentation page right here, and this is the first open page. I'm in the Vivaldi browser. I don't know why. Someone said, use Vivaldi. Well, it sounds nice. Okay, since I'm starting with new software, new hardware, or old hardware in some cases, old lights, that's for certain. You're going to get new ones this week. I'm using a different browser. Okay, so first thing we see, the K10 overview, which is a nice little overview. It tells you right away where you can get it for free. Okay, so it's for free for 5 nodes, remember that. But it also gives you here, of course, the version, which is 5.5.8 right now, which is good to know. Then there's a description, overall overview, and what I particularly like is this little drawing, whatever, and it's got the little hand, I don't know why that is. Let's press it and see what happens. Oh, isn't that cool? Well, you can just swipe that and use that in your presentations, right? No, copyright. No, I'm sure they don't mind as long as you're going to sell more. So there you go. You can see it's nice and big, and it's telling you everything that's happening. Distributions, the Kubernetes distributions, the data services it can do, the storage infrastructure it can work with, and security. So look at that. There's Open Policy Agent and Kyverno. I think those are new, by the way. At least Kyverno, I think I saw in the release notes. So that's a nice little image you've got there. Okay, so the other thing you can do is, well, you can go down and it talks about the addition. So right away, very straightforward, very simple. What I like about this is it's right there. You're given the different sections, right? So you're given a brief overview, backup restore, disaster recovery, application mobility. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Very simple, okay? And at the bottom, you know how people are always talking about licensing, how a nuisance it is, no one understands it. Well, right here, it's explaining it to you. Free and enterprise. Boom. It's available in 2 editions, starter edition, provided no charge, da-da-da, and then it gives you a link to the product page. So it's very simple bright outline there, so it doesn't hurt your eyes or your brain, and it's digestible. I would say there's digestible documentation, and then there's not digestible, which means you want to barf it out. Excuse my language. My show, I say what I like. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Here's the, if we press this, it'll take us to installing right away, which is nice. Let's go back. That's a page further in the future. And they've got backup and restore here. We can press that. And it's going to take you to their description page here, which is more kind of marking, it looks like, which we don't really need, so we'll go back. Same thing with disaster recovery, I imagine. Yeah, same thing. But it's giving you a lot of little bits and pieces of information. So it's still good, but this is more marketing stuff. But we will go back to the first page. Okay, so another thing I like right away about this is on the left-hand side, right away you get all little areas which you want to go to, for instance, so installing, accessing, using, operating. So using, operating, I've never gotten the difference. You're operating it, you're using it. And if you're using it, you're operating it. But anyways, we'll leave that. That's one minor little thing. Extending with canister, multi-cluster manager, very good. Restrictions, always good to tell you exactly what you can and can't do. Knowledge base. The knowledge base, let's take a look at that. I've not always found that too helpful, but it has gotten better. I've seen they've added stuff to it. So you press knowledge base, it takes you to this page, and you have to press knowledge base again. Okay, no big deal. Now, this page is a little bit kind of empty. It's like, hello, how can I help you? Like that, what is it called? Chat GPT? Well, but it's not too bad. The thing is, I guess you can type stuff in here. I've always gone right to the how-to or about, but debugging is one of the areas. Now, there wasn't a heck of a lot in there before, but this page is better now. You see, it actually has on the left-hand side areas where you have problems, and then there's debugging, so troubleshooting guide, and then there's some examples of problems. So this could probably have a little bit more work on it because it's a little bit, kind of rough, but still it's good. And you see they're up to date because they've added some new stuff, K10 and VBR. Okay, so they're not falling behind at all. Okay, so yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it could be maybe a little nicer, but it's not the end of the world. And I have used it for real life scenarios. For instance, I think for Loghorn, they have some examples in here about problems you can have with Loghorn. Okay, so it's just to get there, you got to go through like 2 different pages, which is kind of silly. But anyways, all right. Restrictions goes without saying. We'll look at that later. But release notes. Let's take a look at that one because it's important. So this is the latest one. It came out the other day, the 8th of April. And so right off the bat, you see what's happening here. Added support for Kubernetes 1.2.6, and then some other things, bug fixes, whatnot. But what I like here is you can go back to every single release and look and find the notes. Right back to looks like almost the very beginning. Okay, so that is the K10 first page of the documentation. Next time, we'll go a little deeper. We'll go to installing K10. And you know what? We might even try to do it at the same time. So this was a quick episode of the Kube Vanguard because I'm testing my fantastic new environment. We'll get some tomatoes thrown at us. But this is also a fun experience. Now, I just want to say this. Some people have told me, well, Jeff, I don't want to vlog. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Well, don't think that I do. The fun of this, you should go out and have fun. That's what the fun is. And you're going to make mistakes, but you will learn. You'll learn, you'll get better. And the main thing is not to be shy of the camera, not to care. Well, I mean, you care, but you know what I mean? Not to get all self-confident. I didn't shave. Oh, my goodness, I look like garbage. Just to say, I look like garbage all the time. And you'll be fine. But it's also a very good way to teach yourself. I find that when I'm describing these things, they stick in my head longer. So if I go through and I'm talking about, anything, K3S or Rancher Desktop or the Kasten K10 documentation, these concepts will stay in my brain longer because I've discussed them with you. Okay, enough for this week. That was our little test run of the Kube Vanguard New Edition. We will see you next week.